Yes, ma'am, you can start, ma'am.
We can. I'm just trying to switch on my video. I don't know why the video is not switching on. I think there is some kind of connectivity issue from both sides. I'll just see what people have to written in the chat because there was quite a big problem. People couldn't hear, even I couldn't hear initially. I'm just, yes, it's audible. Wonderful. Now I'm visible. That's excellent. I think this is fine. I will now start sharing my screen. I'll just please bear with me while I just, yeah, perfect. Okay. I hope there is somebody allowing the people to enter. There are 13
Yes,
people
ma'am,
in the
yes.
waiting room. If somebody could arrange for that. So I'll just, is the audio clear now, please? I think okay. I'll just see if there are people who've said something. I think somebody's written something. Please relax. This session is a part of artificial intelligence and language teaching. These discrepancies are a part of online teaching. Mr. Azim Ali Sayed, these discrepancies are not just a part of online teaching, they are a part of life now in the post-pandemic era. I would request all participants to please switch off their mics and also to kindly switch off their videos because it interferes with the bandwidth. And I would just request you to give me a few moments while I share my screen with you. Yes. I think it's visible and I'm sure you can hear me better. Please give me a yes before I start. One person said I was not audible. So if you can kind of let me know if I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, visible or
Yeah,
no?
visible, audible, all good. Okay. So without further ado, I will start now. I'll just see that. Okay. Screen visible. So, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, Adab, Namaskar, and a very, very good evening from Kolkata. My name is Shabina Umar, and I teach and head the Department of English at an undergraduate college affiliated with the University of Calcutta. I have a lot of experience as a UGC resource person, having delivered various talks across various HRDCs all around the country. I have interacted both physically and online with members of the faculty from leading colleges, universities, pan India. And I am not here to teach you. I'm very grateful to Dr. N. Sumati for having reached out to me online. We are strangers in reality, but very connected virtually. And having had the trust and confidence in me to kind of allow me to address such an august audience. So, thank you, Dr. Sumati. I'm very grateful to the SRM Institute of Science and Technology, the College of Science and Humanities, to organize this extremely important, extremely relevant topic for today. I understand my time is 1 hour, it's 6 to 7. So, although we are lagging 15 minutes, let us try to make the best out of it. I am not here to teach you because I, like you, am a faculty member. And this is a faculty development program. And I believe that academicians learn from each other. Academicians mutually grow. Academicians mutually enrich each other. So what I'm going to tell you is not something that you don't know or something that you need to be taught. These are certain ideas that float around us in our workspaces, in our academic experiences. And I'm simply here to share some ideas, refresh a few memories, and maybe work together with you in collaboration towards better self-development, better enhancement of professional competency. Having said that, I bring you to the first slide, sorry, which says, just why is this? Let's not look at this slide. Something very drastic is happening. Is my PowerPoint visible, ladies and gentlemen? Somebody please give me a yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I begin with who is a good teacher because we are all faculty members here, most of us, others researchers, and these are the qualities. I'm not going to, insult your intelligence or waste your time reading out the PowerPoint. So when we are asked who's a good teacher, we give all these qualities. But if all of us have these qualities in variety, we are kind, caring, honest, we are very sincere, we are very, should we say, knowledgeable, we are resource specialists, we are practitioners of higher education, then why is it that the output that we get is usually unsatisfactory compared to the input that we give? And my submission before you is that because we are good, but we are not effective. So, who then is an effective teacher? And an effective teacher is somebody whose input output will match, whose productivity will match, who will be goal, deadline, time oriented, who will be a good scholar, a good orator, somebody who explains very well, somebody who feels the pulse of the class, and most importantly, somebody who not just has command over the subject, somebody who updates himself or herself regularly. And it is this updation, my friends, that is the need of the hour. I am changing slides. I hope you can see the changing slides. If you can't, please let me know. So my third slide tells you that the need of the hour is the focus on the teachers, the focus on the STEM, what the institution today is doing for us. It is creating a faculty, curating a faculty development program. How then do we change? How then do we improve? How then do we enhance our skills? We can only do it, first of all, by motivation. That is, we analyze what our strengths and weaknesses are. We analyze what our fears and hesitations are. And if we are motivated, we create an educational platform that allows us and our scholars to engage, explore, encourage, and experiment. So, therefore, we can only become a motivated teacher and a motivating teacher with empathy, authenticity, and acceptance. The moment we practice empathy, we are seeing things from the point of view of the students and their generation use a particular language, a particular technology, a particular mindset, a particular approach, which we may either approve or disapprove of, but which we must bring with us into our approach to them. The moment we practice authenticity, it means that we are being ourselves, accepting that we are human beings, we are from an older or an elder generation in which we may not be familiar with the amount of technology, with the amount of, with the kind of language used, with the kind of teaching done. But the acceptance of our opinions, our students' ideas, is what is actually going to enable us to reinvent ourselves. to become effective teachers because we are already good. So, to embrace efficacy, we need change. And change, my friends, is the only constant in life. And around us, what is changing very rapidly is the technological landscape. And I refer you to my next slide with a quote from the book Future Shock by Alvin Toffler, who has said that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And herein we come to the crux of artificial intelligence and language teaching. Being the first speaker, having volunteered to set the tone for the rest of the faculty development program, what I will present before you today is going to be something very, very basic, something very, something very, very unspecific, and some ideas which are very general related to technology and teaching. So we already know we need to unlearn and relearn in our minds to certain it may be to because teachers are creatures of habits. And when you have spent years in a particular mode, in a particular subject, and when we have all, spent a whole lot of time orienting ourselves to get the most out of our performances and our efforts, then it is very difficult not to be resistant to change. So that has to start from within, and we must be able to embrace the unlearning and the relearning of certain outmoded ideas and outmoded modes of thought and outmoded, uh, should I say, habits. The biggest fear teachers say, especially with AI coming, is that teaching and technology are replaceable and technology will replace teaching. No, it will not. Technology may replace those who do not teach using technology because technology is a tool. We have to understand that it is an aid. It is for your use if you want to optimize your efforts. So I ask you another question. What is it that only increases when you share it? Anyone? Any answers? Uh, any messages? If you're not talking, I understand your mics may be mute. Knowledge, wonderful. Televisions rock. So the answer is knowledge. When we talk about pedagogy, what we mean by pedagogy, we mean the way you teach. We mean the method, the practice, the theory, the style, and the way you are connecting with your audience. So, what then is digital pedagogy that we keep talking about when we talk about ICT, we talk about AI, we talk about smart tools? What is then digital pedagogy? It means not just using digital pedagogy for teaching, it means approaching digital pedagogy to understand how much to use and where. I see Mr. Nasir Drareni continuously writing something. So I would request the audience to write your remarks and questions once I'm done. Because if this keeps distracting me, then it's going to be very difficult and a big waste of your time if I'm not able to say what I want to. So kindly hear me out and then we take all discussions and questions because we are all here to deliberate. So bear with me. So when we talk about digital pedagogy, my friends, we are using digital pedagogy not just as technological aids for teaching, but we are approaching these tools from an analytical perspective as to how much to use when. You cannot just run a PowerPoint and say, okay, the lecture is done, so kindly take a look. then it becomes all power and no point. The whole idea of an audio-visual aid, of a technological aid, of a whiteboard, of a Jamboard, of any kind of interactive media is for you to understand if at all it suits your subject. If it suits your subject, how much can you use it? If it does not suit your subject, then what can you do with it and how it will facilitate, will, should I say, simplify the kind of work that your student and yourself as a teacher require. So technology, I beg your pardon, helps us to collaborate. We are here. You are in the southern part of the country. At least the FDP is being organized in the southern part of the country. I am in the eastern part of the country. There are participants from all across the country. Some may be from outside the country also. And we are collaborating to share knowledge. So when we are sharing knowledge, we are actually multiplying power. And this is what has happened in the past when we have had revolutions in knowledge. The first revolution, all of you know this very well, was the written language because data could then be stored, information could then be stored. You could retrieve it, you could go back to it. The second revolution was printing and dissemination of knowledge through pamphlets, papers, articles, books. The third revolution was the information and communication technology, which now has developed into artificial intelligence and its use. And this, along with your entire plethora of social media and allied services, transformed work life and play. Now, what we are experiencing, what we have seen in the pandemic, is that learning is moving beyond boundaries. It's anywhere, anytime learning, which we now are very used to the terms like M learning and U learning, something that is mobile, something that is ubiquitous. So, technology has history, as you can just take a look, and technology in education developed also through the information and communication technology. Everybody knows this, that it's a set of technological tools, in the very famous words of Blurton, in which you communicate, create, disseminate, store, and manage information. So these started as information networks, information management systems, and it moved on to lifelong learning networks. The first step was using technology. So, of course, what is ICT? We know that it's the tools we use throughout our life every day, from calling a cab to ordering food to online shopping to banking to electronic services to learning, teaching, research. Now, the question which many people ask, but they don't ask this very loudly at the sake of being embarrassed or, being kind of laughed off, is that why do we need ICT? Because education was happening before it too. The answer in very, very simplistic terms is that from an earlier age, we have come to an age of information and technology, an age of continuous knowledge. So the teacher has evolved from a resource specialist into a navigator, facilitator, a coach, a collaborator of learning. I believe this is a faculty development program. So my understanding of the audience is that we are either connected to teaching, to research, to administration, to higher education. So therefore, the paradigm has changed. My friends, we are now a knowledge-based society. So instead of facts and data, we focus on skills and competencies. Instead of transfer of knowledge, we focus on collaboration to create knowledge, which we call constructivist education. Instead of fixed homogeneous team methods, we have flexible, heterogeneous, multimodal learning, and we kind of believe in lifelong learning knowledge networks, which is what these faculty development programs, faculty induction programs, refresher courses enable you to do to understand the changing educational landscape. So the teacher has shifted from being a transmitter of knowledge to a coach, a facilitator, a collaborator, and of course, a co-learner. We've had the new education policy implemented in so many places now all across the country. Earlier we had the CBCS system, now we have the CCX system. So the credits, the curriculum, the frameworks are very student centric, very, should I say, at par, aimed to be at par with international teaching. So similarly, with the changing role of teachers, the changing role of students has also emerged, and the student does not just like sit and listen like this anymore. The student is not passive anymore. The student is trying to become a collaborator, a knowledge producer, and knowledge and learning is not just a solitary activity. So therefore, what we go today as the virtual teaching learning principle. The image on my next slide tells you that we are looking at a blended hybrid mode of teaching. And for this, we need artificial intelligence, we need adoption and use of ICT. Before even we go where we are now, if there are people among us, and there are people among us, it's not that everybody is very savvy and everybody is very smart, because the generation of students we have are digital natives, and we are not digital natives. So there is always a hesitation of approaching somebody who knows it better, maybe, more, maybe. But herein lies our role, that we are navigators. We have to guide our students. We have to understand and make them understand what is the pitfall of blindly following technology. So there are certain stages in the adoption and the use of ICT that we can, kind of encourage our peers, our colleagues, ourselves to adopt. Some of us are experts. So we use technology to transform pedagogy. Perfect. Some are hesitant. So they approach technology in four ways: an emerging interest, an application, an infusion, and finally a transformation. For example, how do you approach a subject like English language teaching, English literature teaching with technology? First, you become aware of it. It's AI, 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 it's ICT, 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 it's OER, 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 it's digital content, it's e-learning, it's your virtual portfolio. You become aware of ICT. You understand how much you know, how much you do not know, and you become aware of ICT. Then you learn to use the subject. Where can technology in language teaching take you? Can it give you the accurate pronunciation? Can it enable you to construct the accurate sentence? Can it be used in phonetics? Can it be used in phonology? Can it be used in linguistics? So you learn how much and how to use ICT, when to use technology, and slowly, 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 as you integrate that into your subject, we see even the novices becoming experts. It is all about very, very judicious understanding of application. Second, when you are teaching through ICT or technology, the first thing you must understand is it is not a substitute for traditional teaching. If it was a substitute for traditional teaching, I would run this PowerPoint and let you read it and understand it, because you are all scholars, we are all experts, we are all experienced, and we have had a range of teaching. But no, productivity tools have to be applied to enhance traditional teaching, to understand that this is but an alternative mode, that this is a multimodal form of instruction which you can use to innovate. All of us across India have the same kind of food. We all eat the same vegetables. What is changing in our regions is the spice, the way we cook. Some of us like it very spicy, some of us like it sweet and sour, some of us like it slightly spicy, some of us like it very tangy, some of us like it boiled. So similarly, your subject can be innovated. It will be the same matter. Language teaching will be aspects of the language taught, universally in a with certain differences and certain elements highlighted in some syllabi, downplayed in the others. But you can innovate by adding that twist, that spice, that flavor. And this is where technology helps you. Which brings us to e-learning. E-learning is how we use any digital technology to deliver support and enhance learning. So, what is digital learning? Anything facilitated by technology using a pedagogy that makes use of technology. There are various common digital learning tools, and I'm sure you recognize all of this or most of this. Ebooks, blended learning, gamification, adaptive learning, online learning, OERs, virtual reality, augmented reality. Many digital tools are available at your disposal on your phone, on your tabs, around us in the social media and internet sites we frequent. So I will, this is just a very, very small slide on the evolution of e-learning, which began in 1999 when CBT used the term for the first time. There are so many features that support e-learning. Our messages, our voice notes, our the whole repertoire of applications on our phone. Earlier, we used to use a CD-ROM. Now we use LSs. We have smart devices. E-learning will have its advantages because it is without boundaries, it's without restrictions, it gives you gamification, it's reusable, it's cost effective, it can be applied to people with special needs, people who've missed classes. But its disadvantages are that the human touch is missing, the hands-on experience may be limited, the social interaction may not be there, you may have health or eye-related concerns. Some of you may right now also be using your WhatsApp on another window. So there are distractions, there are procrastinations. So what, my friends, is the challenge today? It is that we make the transition. We make the transition from traditional or semi-traditional to technological teaching, and we rise up to the challenge. How? By converting our lecture into digital formats, which again enables you to tap some of your talents and to develop some of your weaknesses. Because in a classroom lecture, we are basically the sage on the stage and we're doing chalk and talk. But the moment we script for a video lecture, we are highlighting the basic concepts. We cannot ramble. So we become more precise, we become more concise, and to make the transition from real to virtual, or maybe from offline to online, it is almost a change in system. And what do we need to do? We need to develop content, and especially in language teaching. Now, what comes in is how do you develop content? What do you add? How do you use the new craze that is there, that is AI? So first of all, you should practice the basic types of e-content: a digital picture, an audio recording, a digital text, and a video recording. You should have these quadrants in your teaching, where you have content, you have audio visuals or videos, you have a self-assessment, you have discussions and questions, and of course, you take a feedback. Any ideal content in a subject that you may want to highlight in a class. Of course, your class can be offline, it can be online, it can be blended. The ideal content will be something that is original, that makes your students stop and think, that is natural, that makes them understand the language that they are studying or the aspects of the language they are studying. For example, if it is business communication that they are studying, or just for that matter, language communication, it should be very useful. It should be something that is informative, that is useful, that tells them that this is not just a subject, it's not just an area of study, it is something that can be applied to real life. So, how do you prepare the topic? You prepare the topic by taking up your expertise, identifying what technology are you very, very comfortable with, or you have recently familiarized yourself with, by preparing, or should we say, adopting some audiovisual material, some web resources, creating some handouts. And here is where open educational resources come in, and a lot of the AI now is straddling the field, where you have intellectual property rights, open sharing. You have all heard of Creative Commons. So materials that are in the open, should I say, domain, they are useful for teaching, learning, or research, and they are permitted for use, reuse, and free use. OERs has a UNESCO history. Most of us know this, so I'll just skip the unnecessary information. It can include material, practice material, textbooks, streaming videos, applications, podcasts, anything. Some examples can be course modules, full courses, syllabi, lectures, homework assignments, quizzes, self-check tests, lab and class activities, pedagogical materials, games, etc. The principle behind OER was that the world's knowledge is a public good, and technology in general can always provide extraordinary opportunities for the development of knowledge. We say there are 3 R's in education and there are 5 R's in OER, where you reuse, revise, remix, redistribute, and retain material without needing any special permission in most cases, as long as you respect the open license and you attribute clearly. Some platforms of the OER are platforms many of you have been exposed to: the Khan Academy, Curriki, Open Learn, the OER Commons, the Flexi Learn, etc. So there is Wikipedia, there is Edu Commons, there is a UNESCO portal will open to one of these pages. There is the gateway.org. There is our own internet archive. I'm clicking slides not to waste your time. I can always share the PowerPoint with you should you want it later. I can give it to the resource person, the convener. And of course, we have the PHET, which is interactive simulations on math and science. Now, something very basic. If you want to just take an aspect of language and you want some royalty-free footage and videos, which sites do you use? I would humbly submit before you 3 sites: Pixabay, Dareful, and Pexels, where you will get a lot of free footage and videos for lectures. The most you will need an email account. It's always preferable to have a parallel email account for accessing materials and research, so that any sensitive details in your primary account is not compromised. If you need music and sound, you need any technological backup. Suppose you need music and sound, it's Bensound, Freesound, sounds great, give it a try. I was in an interactive workshop that used this, and that's how I know. There are so many examples of OER. You have OER Commons in Curriki. And in India, it started with the recognition of the potential of OER in the National Knowledge Commission in 2007. We've had the Gyan Darshan channel, etc. We've had the NMEICT. We've had various initiatives like the e-Pathshala, the Shala Siddhi at various levels for various educational levels. We've had the Gyan Darshan channel, which is a major initiative in higher education. We've had Gyan Vani and E-Gyan Kosh. All of you know E-Gyan Kosh. We've had the NMEICT, which is the National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology. We've had NPTEL, and of course, we've had Swayam. And I have done a lot of, should I say, pioneering work through Swayam in the first of its kind online refresher course in English and gender studies that was inaugurated in 2018, I think, under the auspices of the MHRD, which a lot of UGC human resource centers preparing a lot of modules on various topics. I was invited to deliver a series of lectures in English on English language teaching. Those links are accessible. If any of you are interested, I shall leave my email at the end and you can get in touch with me. So the SWAYAM initiative is the Government of India initiative, which is actually trying to provide education through boundary-less learning with the aim of access, equity, and quality. And its features are basically that it is a MOOC platform and it is an integrated platform, etc., etc. So a lot of government initiatives in OER are also there. For example, you have the National Digital Library, the National Academic Depository, you have the National Knowledge Network, and there are then international open educational resource initiatives, which are OER Commons. You have teacher portals, you have Berkeley, Princeton, Rice, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Concluding with, of course, what is a MOOC? We all know it's a massive online open course. Again, it is a logical advancement in the field of education. It's massive because it can have up to a lot of students in its ambit. It's open because it's for anyone, anywhere who can register for it. It is online. It is self-paced learning. And of course, it is certified. A lot of MOOCs. So defining MOOC have an X-MOOC focusing on scalability and a C-MOOC that is focusing on connectivity and connections. Most importantly, friends, more than understanding the theory, which is very Googleable, which is very easily understandable, many of you may also be associated with MOOCs. Let us talk about the MOOC principle, which is once again a blended, hybrid, technological principle, techno-educational principle. And through this use of technology, you have a choice-based course, you have a collaborating approach, you have no regional geographical barriers, you have a flipped classroom environment. It becomes a collaborative educational network with continuous updation, and it saves your time. So the advantages are far more than the two key disadvantages that you see, and Swayam follows the MOOC pedagogy. It has 4 quadrants with videos, e-content, self-assessment, and a discussion forum. The first quadrant is an instructor-led, I beg your pardon, quadrant. The second is a self-learning material quadrant. The third might be a self-check, self-assessment quadrant. And finally, interactions and discussions. So from the MOOC, we come to the Moodle. And this was created by Martin Duguay-Mars while he was working on a postgraduate degree at the Curtin University of Technology in Australia. He had a background in computer science, and he started this, which again many of us will know, it's modular object-oriented dynamic learning environment. I will not give you the theory, I will not give you the details because you know this. So you can experiment with Moodle by accessing these 2 links. You can understand how it functions as a learning management system, something that we are now very, very avidly understanding and creating. And learning management systems are various, multifarious, and all very accessible, depending on how you approach what you need, what you want, and how you utilize. So, friends, technology depends on us. My submission, after all this, which I have tried to fit in a very, very challenging period of 30 minutes, given the 15-minute rush that we have. Because I don't believe in, talking one way. So I would like interactions and comments. So we need to train ourselves first to accept, embrace, adopt, and become an expert in technology, to learn the basics of any technology that we are using, to learn how to edit, to learn how to include activity, to learn how to create response, to learn how to accept alternative perspectives, alternative thoughts. We must all disagree, but without being disagreeable. We must disagree with dignity, and that is how we develop, and that is how we learn. So, having said that, let me bring you to my concluding slides. That what is artificial intelligence? A simulation of human intelligence. It is machine intelligence which simulates and stimulates human intelligence. What does it want to do? It wants to update and upgrade our routine processes by improving speed, efficiency, if it is implemented correctly. This is what it aims to. What do AI tools comply with? Learning, self-rectification, and reasoning. Learning means acquiring, understanding new experiences, creating new models of learning, creating new models of education, creating new models of interaction. Self-correction is very important words that we all adopt today. Algorithm. So getting the most accurate results without scope for error as much as possible. Reasoning, trying to find out which is the best algorithm to pick up to perform a specific task, again, very correctly and very fast. What does AI do in education? You know this. It gives you a personal, customized experience. It creates a module suited to your needs. It produces very smart content, lessons, visuals, updates, information, should we say, techniques. It almost automates by simplifying. It tutors. It gives you access for everybody. A deaf, dumb, mute, physically different, a slow learner, a student who is shy, a student who has personality, development, behavioral problems. It gives access to all. It is holistic. And of course, it tries to reduce the pressure on students. So, how do we, educators, implement it? We implement it by identifying what we want. What is our need? What is our purpose? Number two, how will it transform my department, my teaching, my portfolio, my team, my outcome? So understanding the transformative potential. Third, connecting the right kind of team, the right kind of approach. If you're working with a department, then your faculty, your colleagues, your peers. If you are working in a research think tank, in a group, then again, your co-associates. And if you are working by yourself, you are a teacher, single-handedly teaching so many things under the pressure of syllabus, then within you, how much you know, how much you can do, how much you. And finally, creating an environment. Technology needs an environment to thrive. And when we talk synergy, when we talk unity, when we talk mutuality, then we must understand the key considerations of that environment of healthy coexistence. Having said that, my friends, I conclude with a quote which you must be familiar with. We are human because we are intelligent. It is our intelligence which keeps us ahead of and apart from primitive life, animal life. We are called evolved because we have the higher intelligence, the higher faculty. And artificial intelligence should be understood in one perspective as an extension of that quality. With these words, I conclude my lecture. Namaskar and thank you. Once again, I will reiterate, I have not tried to teach you anything because you are all scholars, we are all teachers, we are faculty, and I cannot be so audacious as to think that I can have the gumption to teach you. I have simply shared information, ideas, and I have tried to give you an overview of a topic which you will think with bigger efforts over the next few days. I will take a few questions and give you all the very, very best for the rest of your faculty development.
It was if you have any questions,
Do I have any questions? Do I have any comments? Anything that you would like to tell me? I
we
can see a lot of
request our participants to raise few questions if they have.
if you have few questions. I have Dr. J. Dilibabu asking me for some recent AI tools for modern English education. Sir, I am writing out my email ID. Please connect and I will send you. I don't know why I can't send a message. Ma'am, is there a problem sending the message?
We will check it now, ma. Few minutes.
I'll tell somebody to write it if they want. It's sno.eng, SNO, S for Switzerland, N for Nagpur, O for Orange, dot eng2018 @gmail.com. Give suggestions for teaching phonetics. Please email me sno.eng2018 @gmail.com. Dr. Mahalakshmi, I will definitely do the needful. Thank you, Dr. Parvati, Dhanyam, all Dr. Arul Dayanand, all's well that ends well. Thank you, sir. Yes, Dr. A. Ganeshan. It's sno.eng2018 @gmail.com. Yes, Dr. I think a lot of people have their mics on, so it's very difficult to understand. Thank you, Dr. Parvati. Thank you,
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Ma'am, do you think
Thank you. Please
ChatGPT?
Korean. Yes, sir. Do I think?
ChatGPT helps researchers and the professors to enrich their communication skills, ma'am.
Technology
I guess this is also one of the AI tools, right, ma'am?
Yes, it is. And I would say technology in any form is always helpful, is always, should I say, very positively enriching if used correctly. It also depends on the extent of your use, the way you are using it, and the approach you have to it. There are students who are, of course, some of them are very young, they are children of, and they will blindly follow it. They will, if somebody, sir, I think if you are using it with the correct approach in mind and you are using it for the correct purpose, it all depends on how you use it, how you look towards technology. Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you, Dr. Ramesh Babu Rao. Thank you, Vishwan. So everybody, thank you very much. I see that we have
Thank you, ma'am. Thank It gives me immense pleasure today to thank you all for being here. Let me give a formal vote of thanks to our resource person today and for you all for joining today. A very good evening to you all. On behalf of our EVFL department, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramambaram campus, I thank you all from my heart. I am glad to be standing here to express my vote of thanks to you all. A special thanks to our resource person, Professor Shabina N. Omar, Head of the Department at Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose College, University of Calcutta, Kolkata, West Bengal, for accepting our invitation and for being here with us today. Ma'am, it's really wonderful and it's a highly informative and motivational talk session what we had today for using the pedagogies and how it can be transferred an ordinary class into an extraordinary class. All the informations, all the things, whatever you have shared with us are an eye-opener and also thrilling drive for us forever, I hope. Thank you, ma'am. I thank our head of the department, Professor S. Leela, for always supporting us and guiding us. I thank our G, VP Academic, VP Admin, for always motivating us for doing all the sessions, all the events like this. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Dr. N. Shumari, the coordinator of the program, who have made this day possible. I I would also like to thank each and every one of you for being here and making this day a wonderful and memorable one for all of us. I thank you all once again. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all the participants. The feedback link will be provided in the group. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Dear professors, feedback link is shared in the chat box. I personally take immense pleasure in thanking our resource person today. Thank you, Shabina ma'am.
Thank you all. We request you all to kindly fill the feedback link and you all can leave the group. I hope we all will join tomorrow by the time 6 o'clock evening. Thank you all. Thank you for joining today. Thank you all. Let's wind up the session. Thank you.
gentle reminder to all the participants, kindly fill the feedback link. Tomorrow we have a session on AI tools for English language teaching by Dr. Prashant Murthy, sharp at 6 o'clock. And in the same way, it will be live streamed in YouTube also. Thank you.